Be ready, start. There is an increasing realization all the world over that only through the right type of education can human beings be made good citizens and a better order of society be built. It is also common knowledge that real and effective education must be based on the actual environment and experiences, and it must fit the student for the type of work he or she is expected to do in life. Perhaps in no other area of human activity has there been such widespread and fully warranted realization of the futility of the existing system. Every now and then, the country's leaders, including educationists of various hues and disciplines, talk of the deficiencies of the present system and plead for reforms. No wonder there has been a plethora of education reform committees and commissions. There has also been considerable experimentation in the process of education, but the basic problem of fitting the system to the real needs of the country and its people has remained unsolved. There need be no doubt that the type of education that concerns itself only with the study of a prescribed set of books and annual and term examinations in the traditional manner or in the semester system is not only incomplete but also wasteful and a failure. The cynics often argue that Indians are traditionally inefficient, lazy, and fatalistic, and that no amount of education and training will make them proficient and in a position to compete with enlightened people in the advanced countries. But this impression is unwarranted. Given the right type of training and opportunities, India can produce hundreds of thousands of first class people in all branches of work and knowledge. The tragedy is that the people do not have such opportunities. Moreover, the government itself, preoccupied as it generally is with political issues and the problems of survival in the seats of office, do not seem to have the requisite will and inclination to concentrate on and education which offers the golden key to the solution of many national and other problems. No doubt the Constitution lays down specific provisions for universal education and even mentions a deadline. But this is one area in which totally inadequate expenditure has been incurred. The deadline for education of children up to the age of 14 years is postponed time and again because of the poor progress made in the spread of literacy. The adult education programs have also suffered because of political prejudices. The ambitious programs drawn up after much study and effort and launched with much fanfare by one political party are bypassed or replaced by other schemes under different labels just out of spite. The result in that the net progress in education is very slow. Mass literacy drives turn out to the flops most of the time. The lessons of Soviet Russia and other countries which concentrated on mass education as an item of the highest priority and ensured the all round progress of their country and the people seem to have been clean forgotten. If our children are denied education, what is our India of tomorrow going to be like? Asked Jawaharlal Nehru. So it is the duty of the state, whatever the political pattern under which it functions, to provide free and compulsory education for all children to lay sound foundations for national progress. It is obvious that the world educational crisis is basically a crisis of growth. While it is true that more and more people now have access to the modern techniques of acquiring knowledge, it cannot be denied that with the increase in population, the necessary facilities have not kept pace with the demands, with the result that there is an ever widening gap between the opportunities and the seekers. It is estimated that as the population increases, the human race practically doubles its number every 40 years. Since this trend is unlikely to be modified despite the highly publicized family limitation drives, it is obvious that a far more extensive campaign for expanding education and training facilities is necessary if a proper balance is to be ensured. The fact is that the accumulated problems and occasional contradictions in education, besides the social and allied problems, have created a definite educational crisis which has affected almost all countries, regardless of their socio political systems and the degree of economic progress. It has been said that there is a virtual generation gap in education. There are barriers in the educational system in respect of the access to higher levels of education. For instance, there is a monopoly of certain types of schools, something that the crisis has also been caused by such faults in the system as the question answer emphasis to show examination results. There is also the problem of ensuring better integration of education with other spheres of human activity. Actually, the problems that have contributed to the crisis in education are countless. Besides the factors already mentioned, there are the complexities created by the dismal phenomenon of dropouts, that is, the increasing number of young and not so young students who suddenly abandon their schools or other educational centers either for economic reasons or because of the lack of time or interest, not to mention the indifference and inefficiency of the teachers and instructors, most of whom are poorly paid and have very limited interest in their assignments. When the dropouts continue increasing, there is considerable waste apart from the frustration and disillusionment. It implies that a good part of the efforts and the amount being spent on schools and training centers is going down the drain.